There you go. If you give it up for your fader dominators and your producers and camera people. Mariah and I moved to Asheville, North Carolina, not too long ago. I've been living in Athens, Georgia forever, it seems like, and we found this little cabin up in the woods, and we moved just in time for the locals to get 65 inches of snow this winter. And I was telling Eric and I was telling Brett, we live about 2.5 miles off I-26. You may have heard of it. It's a major U.S. interstate. And I know it's scraped every time it snows, but we live 2.5 miles off of it. It might as well be 250 because we live on a non-county maintained road. So we were watching all this stuff on Doppler. We just got figured, because we got blown in for 4 days. We just couldn't get out of the driveway, like literally couldn't get the car down the hill. We live about 2,100 feet up on the side of this mountain. And it's great. It's really inspiring. It's not a complaint. It's just we weren't really ready for the lifestyle. So Mariah would be upstairs and I'd hear, it's going to be here in 3 hours. You need to go to the store and get eggs and bread and some beer if you want. And we're going to be locked in for about 4 days. They're predicting like 18 inches on this one. And sure enough, I mean, like clockwork. It's just amazing. Whatever they got.
You'll be driving up the driveway. The first spikes will be coming.
So the thing I remember about Chapel Hill, North Carolina, growing up there is that they got 4 distinct seasons. You don't really get that in Georgia. There's just soggy, and then there's rain. Next song, this came from, the information for this song came from photographs. It was a photograph in particular by Dorothea Lange, who worked for the WPA, and she took photographs of the farmers in Texas and Oklahoma and Missouri and Kansas, folks that had lost their farms due to the changing wind patterns, all this topsoil that just got blown up in the sky. It's the stuff of Woody Guthrie songs, as most of you all know. So I wrote this song called Resplendent, and Buddy Miller brought Emmylou Harrison to sing on it, and she did a great job. She said, I like your song, Mr. Mallonee, and she did 3 vocal takes that are just hauntingly beautiful. They sound great. And the song went into the charts in the UK in the year 2000. It finished in the top 5 Americana. Funny thing, the years that I've toured in England, the Brits are absolutely enamored of the American experience. There's so much, I think, because it's built into that notion of rugged individualism and taking chances and risks. We're over there for decades, hundreds of years now. Everybody has to learn how to get along and blend. I guess it's not that big of an island. But they love American music, and so we've done real well over there in the past. This song in particular, though, got some airplay on radio, too. It's called Resplendent. Well, I remember those dark clouds. It was rain and dust for days on end. Blew all the earth to California and just left us all here with the wind. In desperate times you'll know everybody's part, but it's your own lines you're like to forget. Till what you were meets what you've now become, and it grins and says, hey, haven't we met? I lost my firstborn that winter, and my wife on the first day of spring. And so I poured my sweat into the earth just to see what that harvest would bring. And I remember howling fury. It was like a plague of locusts.
Egypt's punishment for sins of pride. Is that now what has come over us? How much of this was meant to be? How much the work of the devil? And how far can one man's eyes really see in these days of toil and trouble? Honey, we're all resplendent. Yeah, honey, we're all thrift store. And I'm like Ewino with a $20 bill. I'm forever and eternally yours. Yes, and I can make you promises if you don't expect too much. Yes, and I will go the distance. If you'll please excuse the crutch. How much of this was meant to be? How much the work of the devil? And how far can one man's eyes really see in these days of toil and trouble? How much of this is failing flesh? How much the course of retribution? My, how loudly we plead our innocence long after we made our contributions.
Thanks again. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Mariah Rose on keyboards and voices.
Bill Mallonee, the rest of the magic.